Albert Camus famously said, "The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion." For some women, sleeping with a man is not about desire, love, or validation. It is about rebellion. It is about asserting control in a world that constantly tries to dictate who she should be, whom she should love, and how she should behave. From a young age, women are taught to restrain their instincts, to protect their reputations, to conform to social expectations. But intimacy can become a way of reclaiming agency, a declaration of freedom. I choose this. I decide who enters my world. I decide who touches my body. This is why some women pursue men who are considered off-limits. Older men, unavailable. Men, or men outside their social circle. The act is not only about attraction, it is about liberation. It is her way of defying rules imposed upon her. To her, intimacy becomes political, existential, and personal all at once. Camus believed that true freedom lies in accepting life's absurdity while still living authentically. For women, intimacy as rebellion embodies that principle. It is not always about what the world thinks is right. It is about the defiant choice to follow her own desires, even when society calls it wrong. To understand this is to understand why some women take risks in relationships that seem irrational from the outside. The act itself is a statement. I will not be controlled by fear. I will not live as a prisoner of rules. Part 7. The yearning for unity beyond isolation. Camus wrote often about the loneliness of existence. Each of us lives in our own mind, separated from others by the boundaries of language, fear, and misunderstanding. Intimacy, for a woman, can sometimes be an attempt to bridge this isolation, a yearning to dissolve the barrier between self and other, even if only for a fleeting moment. When she sleeps with a man, it is not always just about him. It is about escaping the prison of individuality. It is about touching another soul so deeply that, for a short while, she feels less alone in the vastness of existence. This is not about lust, it is about unity, the dissolving of distance, the quiet hope that two beings can briefly merge into one. Camus called this the human paradox. We are forever separate, yet forever reaching for connection. For a woman, intimacy may be her boldest attempt to defeat that separation. She risks rejection, she risks pain, but still she reaches, because to remain alone in silence feels worse than to be misunderstood. This is why intimacy for women is rarely shallow. Even if the relationship is temporary, the act itself carries the weight of this eternal longing. She is not just giving her body, she is giving her hope that someone, somewhere, might understand her without words. Ending. The Camusian truth of female desire. So what have we uncovered? That women sleep with men not only for passion or attraction, but for deeper reasons hidden beneath the surface. To seek meaning in a meaningless world. To feel validation and emotional power. To escape the absurd through desire. To find safety in vulnerability and trust. To leave behind a trace of emotional immortality. To rebel against the rules of society. And to reach for unity in a world of isolation. Albert Camus never wrote specifically about female psychology, but his philosophy reveals a mirror. Women, like all humans, are navigating the tension between the absurd and the search for meaning. Their choices in intimacy are not random. They are acts of rebellion, hope, and longing. For men who want to understand women, the lesson is this. Stop reducing intimacy to biology or conquest. Instead, see it for what it truly is, an existential decision filled with hidden layers of meaning, vulnerability, and power. Camus reminds us that even in the silence of the universe, we must create our own values, our own purpose. And women, through their choices in love and intimacy, do exactly that. They are not just choosing men, they are choosing meaning, choosing rebellion, choosing connection. And so the next time you wonder why a woman sleeps with a man, remember, it is never just about the body. It is about the soul's eternal struggle with meaning, freedom, and love in an absurd world. Albert Camus built his philosophy around the concept of the absurd. the tension between humanity's search for meaning and the universe's silence. For many women, intimacy becomes a way to rebel against this silence. It becomes an escape from the absurdity of daily life, from the monotony of routine, from the crushing weight of emptiness. When a woman chooses to sleep with a man, it is not always about the man himself. It can be about escaping herself. Desire, in this sense, becomes a doorway. For a few moments, the meaningless chaos of life is replaced with passion, intensity, and fire. She feels alive. She feels like the silence of existence has been interrupted by something powerful, even if only briefly. This is why women often say they want to feel desired rather than simply loved. Love can be slow and steady, but desire is immediate. It burns away the absurd. It floods the void. In the arms of a man, she may not find eternal meaning, but she can find temporary relief. And sometimes, that is enough. Camus argued that life should not be about finding ultimate answers, but about living fully despite the lack of answers. In this sense, intimacy becomes a rebellion, a way for her to say, even if life has no meaning, I can still create my own moments of intensity. This is why some women are drawn to dangerous men, unpredictable men, men who represent chaos, because these men ignite the fire that momentarily silences the absurd. For the man, understanding this truth is critical. If you reduce intimacy to a transaction, you will never grasp why she truly seeks you. But if you realize that for her, desire is sometimes a rebellion against emptiness, you will begin to see her choices not as random, but as deeply human. Another hidden reason women sleep with men lies in vulnerability. In a world where strength is demanded and masks are worn daily, intimacy offers her a rare chance to let go of control. To open her body is also to open her heart, her fears, and her insecurities. She does not share this lightly. It is an act of profound trust. Camus once wrote, "To be happy, we must not be too concerned with others." But when it comes to relationships, women cannot help but concern themselves with the emotional safety of their choices. She gives herself to the man who makes her feel safe enough to drop her guard, who allows her to be imperfect without judgment, who proves through presence and consistency that he will not weaponize her vulnerability. This is why some women may resist intimacy with men who are overly judgmental, aggressive, or emotionally careless. To them, such men are threats, not protectors. Instead, they are drawn to those who embody patience, steadiness, and understanding. For her, sleeping with such a man is more than physical. It is the creation of a sanctuary. Camus believed that even in an absurd world, we must create values for ourselves. For a woman, intimacy rooted in vulnerability and trust becomes one of those values. It transforms an act of flesh into an act of spirit. And for the man who understands this, intimacy ceases to be about conquest. It becomes about honoring the courage it takes for her to reveal herself fully. The final hidden reason in this segment is what I call emotional immortality. Camus often wrote about humanity's longing to live beyond death, to leave behind something that transcends time. For women, intimacy sometimes becomes a way to achieve this, not through logic or philosophy, but through memory, impression, and emotional legacy. When she sleeps with a man, she may not be thinking of forever, but she is thinking of leaving a piece of herself in his soul. She wants to be remembered, to be felt, to have her existence matter in his story. Even if the relationship does not last, the intimacy carries a symbolic weight. You will never forget me. A part of me will live inside your memory. This is why women often value emotional connection over physical appearance. They want the bond to mean something, to echo beyond the moment. In Camus's language, it is an act of defiance against death, the desire to be immortalized in the memory of another human being. And notice how this plays out in relationships. Some women remain deeply connected to past lovers, not because they want them back, but because they know those lovers will never forget them. It is not about possession. It is about presence. Presence that endures in thought, even after the physical bond has faded. For the man, this is an important truth. When she chooses you, she is not only giving you her body, she is entrusting you with a part of her legacy. To her, intimacy is not a disposable act. It is a thread woven into the larger fabric of her story. And if you betray that trust, you do not just lose her body, you lose the chance to carry her memory with dignity.